Hello there! In this lesson, we'll be creating this easy monster phone stand with air drying clay and painting it with acrylic paint. This project can be made in about 4 hours and it's really fun to make. And at the end of the project, you get a practical keepsake. So let's get into it. For this project, we'll be using a 2 kg block of white air dry clay, a number 11 palette knife for cutting and modelling our clay, and some toothpicks to reinforce certain parts of our sculpture. To paint our friend, we'll be using titanium white, crimson and black, all in acrylic colour, and a medium brush. The first step is to mould the main part of our monster. To do this, we can cut 1/4 off the end of the clay and stand the clay upright. We can then remove the 4 corners with that palette knife and create the shape into a round tube with a domed top. This is easier if you dip your hands into a bowl of water. Obviously this is quite a large sculpture, but I wanted the monster's eyes peeking over the phone. You will notice that I'm using a timber palette as a base and a banding wheel. This is not compulsory, however, and a plate could just as easily be used. If you refer to the reference image that can be found on our website, you can see the general shape of the body. Essentially, our monster friend has a round, rotund belly. When the clay is at this stage, it's nice and malleable and can be pushed around and made thicker and thinner in certain parts. Again, refer to the reference printout and create tubes for the legs. A truncated cutout can be made either side of the base. The legs can then be pressed onto the body and smoothed on. The feet can be rounded and notches can be made on the legs to hold the phone. With the legs on, we can refine the shape and round the base. Having a rounded form creates a more comical and cute look to the sculpture. Once the body is finished, we can create tubes for the arms. To attach the arms to the body, we remove some clay from a point 3/4 up the body on each side and press the clay tubes onto the body. Dome the end of the hands and smooth the arms onto the body. Place the phone into position on the monster and press the hands onto the phone. To strengthen the arms, we can place a toothpick through the arm into the body. Next, we can create our monster's toothy grin. Cut a smile with the end of the palette knife and remove the clay from the inside of the opening and smooth it all out. Now we can play dentist and put some teeth into our monster's mouth. Decide how many teeth you want to put in. Roll out a small ball for each tooth. Place a cut-off toothpick through each tooth and press this into position. Start with the top side of the mouth first. Toothpicks can be easily cut with a pair of scissors. Use the end of the palette knife to push the toothpicks down to the top of the tooth. We can then lay the bottom teeth in. Once the teeth are all in, we can use a paintbrush to apply water to the teeth and smooth them all out. To hold the arms into position, we can cut pencils to size and prop the arms up with them while they dry and set. If you have to leave the sculpture for an amount of time, you can wrap the sculpture in cling film to stop it drying out. The major parts of this sculpture are finished and I want it to start drying. So I just cover the top of the head so I can add the eyes and the horns when I'm ready. To create the eyes, we roll a couple of balls and press them against the monster's head in the appropriate areas. We then create a larger ball and cut it in half and press these onto the previous bits of clay, then use a damp brush to smooth the clay off. The sculpture side of our monster is finished, so we can let it dry and then add paint. On a sculpture this size, depending on the weather, it will take about 3 days. Once the clay is dry, we can paint the black inside the mouth. We let this dry and then paint the teeth white. I decided to paint my monster crimson, but of course, if you are going to try this project, you could paint it any colour. Whatever colour you choose, to get a smooth, consistent colour, you really need to give it a second coat. Once the body coat is dry, we can paint the eyes white and paint the pupils black. You can then enjoy your phone holding monster and the two of you can create magic together. Well, thanks for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this fun lesson and hope you're inspired to create your own monster phone stand. While you're here, take a look around the Create section on our website and uncover a whole heap of free stuff, from free projects, handy tips and tricks and techniques to keep you busy. Otherwise, have fun and we'll see you next time.